Welcome to the Galen Trombley Show. You can find me on Facebook at Galen Trombley, on Instagram at Galen Trombley, and on YouTube at Galen Trombley. Spelling GaelanTrombley. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Galen Trombley Show. Welcome to episode 148 of the Galen Trombley Show. My guest today is Sierra Gonyo. And one cool thing about you, Sierra, I know you a little bit, not like super well, but enough to, I'm just going to like ask you to be on the podcast. So one thing I really find, the people that I really gravitate towards and like, and I have a lot of admiration for, is young people that I think are trying to do something cool. They're not just like, stumbling through life, that they're actually trying to put the work in to progress and build something. So that is what attracted me, to what you're doing, and again, have you come on. And I've talked to you before in the past, and I thought you were a cool girl, so this would be fun. So Sierra, for people that do not know you, give us kind of a little rundown who you are, where you came from, how'd you get here?
Sure. So I'm a local. I went to Northeastern Clinton High School, and soon after that, I graduated, went to Clarkson University, so not too far, 2 hours or so, and then I found myself, I graduated in the middle of COVID, which was tough, complete curveball that I wasn't expecting. So that kind of led me to found my own business, and now I'm in Plattsburgh, and I started my own company, Evolve Performance Training, and I work with young athletes, college athletes, retired athletes, to help them reach their performance goals. So right now I love what I do. It's my complete passion. And if it weren't for the pay and I could pick anything to spend my time, that's what I would be doing.
So why did you gravitate towards that? Like fitness?
Since 2 years old, I was playing soccer. I was on the soccer field playing the ball, and I was the type of kid growing up who my parents couldn't get me inside at the end of the day. I haven't seen very many movies, TV shows. I was just the outdoorsy kid, always running around, my mom yelling at me for throwing the ball at the wall nonstop. So soccer, basketball have been my passion my whole life, and I've just been a busybody. I'm geared physically. I like being physically tired at the end of the day, and it's always been something I loved. So naturally, I think I'm very lucky to be able to have a career now that I do what I love and I embrace it every single day. And I can continue on with sports, because a lot of people face that identity crisis, which I did when I got done at Clarkson University. When I was done playing basketball, I didn't have anything else. I didn't have that sport to go to at the end of the day or to expend my energy. So that's what kind of drove me to create my company and keep me in the loop with sports and exercise.
Were you, did you go to the gym a lot, like high school and college?
Not necessarily the gym. I didn't get into lifting and resistance training until college basketball, and then I got into it afterwards. But sports itself, it always kept me busy. The running aspect, playing team sports, because I just love the camaraderie of having the team. So I was, again, the same in the sense I didn't start like exercising, because you go to that. I was not as good of an athlete as you. You went and played college sports. I stopped at high school, but the whole idea of getting done high school, and I remember one year was like, I just feel lazy. Like I just wasn't practicing. I wasn't doing anything, and then I started like, maybe I'll just run, because I had a soccer background. I'm like, I'll just run. I hate running. Like, it's just boring. Like, mentally, it's not fun for me to run. So I ended up starting to like look into resistance training and strength training, and then I ended up getting into CrossFit probably 2012. I was like one of the probably early people around here before any of the gyms were open. I was doing that in my house, and then I've been doing that basically for 10 years. But it's an outlet for me, and it's fun. Like I said, I wish I did that back in high school, because it would make me stronger, faster. Be able to. I could see the competitive advantage had I done that. I'm sure you're probably the same way. Yes, that's kind of where I come into play. I think back to high school, and I'm like, I didn't have a trainer during the summer because I was working a job when I was 15, 16 years old. And with three of us kids, two brothers, or a brother and a sister, my parents weren't sending us every single weekend to sports camps because it was just too busy in the summer with work and having the siblings. So that's where I come into play. I want to provide that training for athletes who want to take it to the next level and want to Most kids, middle school, high school, they're not at the place where they're lifting weights and strength training and conditioning. They kind of just go to their practice like I did. 2 hours at the end of the day, they go home, do their homework, whatever. And up here in this area, we don't really provide for that. Down south, it's more common for youth athletes to have the weight room, go to the weight room after school. They have coaches that do that extra stuff with them. Up here, we don't have that. So I kind of found that niche in the market to work with the athletes who want to go to the college level, want to get more prepared, or even continue on with that athletic lifestyle after high school.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is I look at it from the fitness standpoint of having been involved with it for about a decade now. You know, you can see how fitness is in different areas, different what styles of fitness, what what people like, what people don't like. But you look at a lot of younger kids, and I've helped out before with younger kids, and one of the hard thing is getting them motivated to do it, because a lot of them, these kids are like Gumby. They have like there's not a lot of muscle. They have all the flexibility in the world. But I think what you're doing is, hey, I'm preparing you for a sport, which is what they want. They want to be better. Like why are you going to the gym? It's to be better at your sport. They're not looking to lose weight typically. They're not looking to most kids are small. They want to gain muscle and they want to be athletic. So by the time they hit 15, 16, 17, 18, they're strong, and they're not going to get pushed off the ball, especially in basketball or in soccer. But I think the other benefit of it is you're getting them into that love of the gym. So when they do graduate and all of a sudden college or high school, and they're like, all right, I'm done. Here's the end of my actual playing career besides playing pickup sports or leagues, is I could still go to the gym every day and have a healthy lifestyle. And I think you ingraining that in these children at a young age, and this, like I said, could be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, I think you're setting the precedence that I never had or I think a lot of people, we had to find the gym in our 20s.
Absolutely.
And it's not easy, especially when you're learning how to do the movements at 23, 24 years old. Mm-hmm. What's a clean? And which is crazy. I remember the first time I ever did a clean, I was doing reverse curls. So I was pick it up and flip it. And I was doing 80 pounds. I'm
you got to start with the medicine ball.
Yeah.
You graduate to the barbell.
It's arms are bent and I'm hitching up. And it's I wish I had video from that time. Because then I see people now how'd you do that? I'm well, I've been doing it over years and years and years. Right. You come adapt and you understand it. But what do you get from working with the younger children? What is, what age bracket do you really find your niche, or is it kind of?
I would say the high schoolers, young high schoolers, so 9th and 10th grade, because they're at that level where they are serious about it. It's they're ready to move up to varsity. They want to work for their playing time. They want to be the best they can be on the field, but they also are starting to get that maturity level where I can find that fine line of where I can still push them but have fun at the same time. Because with the younger kids, it's mostly focused on having fun. With the older ones, you can push and find that deep spot in them that really motivates them, because once you find that thing that motivates them, then it's all right, easy from here on out. I know that one thing that gets them. I know how to train them. I know how to communicate. And that's communication. I think that's the key in my job. There's plenty of people out there that know so much more about fitness than I do, who maybe can list off every bone in the body, every muscle in the body, how it works, whatever. But if you can't communicate with these kids and motivate, but yet have fun at the same time and push them, then there's going to be no good outcome. So,
well, it's coaching versus playing. So you see a lot of times where it's well, how come Michael Jordan wasn't a great basketball coach, or it didn't turn to be the best basketball coach ever? Well, he was an athlete. He wasn't a coach. Mm-hmm. Understood the game, but there's a communication level of how do you project this? How do you understand it? A lot of athletes, are good at playing it, but they may not see the bigger picture that a coach can, or all the intangibles of other people, or you got to be able to read people. Sometimes Good athletes are just wired they're just, they're basically crazy in their own right. They're so driven or wired in a certain spot that sometimes they can't come out of that to then look at a player that maybe not kind of beats the same drum and figure out how that player, like you said, how that person clicks. Mm-hmm. You got a team of, if you're dealing with, I find, have you ever coached sports?
Yes.
What
So
sport?
Youth soccer.
Okay, so
I coached a couple Pee-wee teams, so that's very young compared to what I'm coaching now.
Is it 5th, 6th, or that's probably 4th, 5th,
4th,
and 6th
5th,
grade?
6th, yeah, around that age group.
So usually, I coached I helped coach varsity for a couple years, and I was the head coach of a JV soccer team. And you have about 20 kids, and we came from a school that had, soccer was a big deal. So you had a lot of kids that really liked the sport.
Big deal's an understatement for Shazy.
I'm downplaying that, but they have, one of the best programs in the state in any sport by far. But the idea was you had those really good athletic kids. You had the kids that were in the middle of the road that were coordinated, maybe not super gifted, but they were coordinated. And then you had the kids that just really didn't. I mean, it was a small school, so everybody played, and you had those other kids. You're like, they're on the team more to be on the team and hang out and have a social aspect. And then you had to go through each group of those. You had your high-level athletes, the high-skilled. You had the middle of the road, and then you had the lower end. And then you had to go to each one of those and find out which kid is driven, which kid works hard, which kid, can just put their head down and go. And all three. Because you could have a person that wasn't very skilled that worked his ass off. Or you could have a really talented person that was lazy, and you knew they were lazy, and they were almost a cancer to the team. They had a lot of athleticism, but they were a pain in the ass, and nobody wanted them around. So you had to find that balance, and you coach all of them differently. And I find training-wise, that's got to come into play, I would think.
100%. So not as much, obviously, when I'm in a one-on-one setting. But for instance, right now I'm training a full Shazy basketball team all summer long. So I right now have the youth athletes, the modified athletes, the varsity athletes all coming to the same practice. So on top of having different
boys,
levels, girls.
Okay.
So on top of having different ages, different levels of skill, there's different levels of work ethic, just like you said. So at that point, when you have a kid who's just learning to shoot hoops, and then you have the junior, senior who's really trying to fine tune their skills, that's also very difficult. So coaching, it's such a skill, and that's why I think you can't compare one coach to another in our industry. And it's so unique, the things you can bring to the table, depending on how you can communicate with different people at once. The different cues you can say that'll click for one person, but maybe not will click for another. So that's where I can bring the creativity to the table in my job, and it makes it different day to day.
Do you like that part of it?
I love it. So it presents a challenge. I can't do routine every single day. So when I show up, it's like, or if I have a kid who's difficult and maybe I can't get as much work ethic out of, it's a challenge for me to get them to bring that work ethic, like find that fire in them that's going to light them up to get them to keep working hard.
What about basketball? Like that was your main, I'm going to call it your main sport because you played it in college. Do you find that because you understand basketball at a fairly high level that's a sport that you can really dive into because you know the nuances of it, you know the like you're not coaching ice hockey. Like you didn't play ice hockey and you have an athlete that comes and plays ice hockey and you're kind of, you work around what you think should work best, but then basketball you're like, okay, I know you need this, this, and this.
100%. And that's what makes it more fun coaching those athletes. I can almost make it more fun because I can spin more basketball into it. So say you're talking about basic strength and conditioning. With a hockey player, which I've never played hockey, I'm only going to be able to work on strength and conditioning and the movements that I know that they're going to need on the ice. Whereas basketball, I can kind of break it up, be like, this is how you're going to use it in a game. This is why we have to do it. And we can incorporate it, mixing between skills, strength, conditioning, blending all three of those things to make it an enjoyable session for the kids.
What's your thought on, and again, I come from the background of like CrossFit is what I did for 10 years. I understand the methodology of that. I think it's good. I know a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people that do like it. I've taken my like level 1, level 2 cert. Like I've had all of it. So it's been a while since I've actually awesome. I got kids now, so like I used to coach a lot, but I don't anymore. I still love it though, and I still understand like how the body works. I still understand how movements work. But I look at CrossFit's idea of training athletes is if you're a basketball player or you're a hockey player or you're a soccer player or whatever, football player, you're not going into... I'm going to say what they say, and then I want to see what your opinion is on this. They say, you go in, and if you go to, say, CrossFit, they're training you just in strength and conditioning to be well-rounded. They're not teaching you how to play soccer. They're not teaching... So the idea is we want you to come here. We want to get your body to the point where you're adaptable to a lot of... You're just physically... well-rounded individual, then you go to soccer practice and play soccer. Then you go to basketball and you play basketball. Because at that point, you're doing sport-specific motions. We're training you to be, well-rounded physically, and then you're going to go get specialized in the sport. versus come in, am I going to train directly to, say, soccer player comes in, I'm doing all the stuff that I know they've had to play soccer, but you're not doing, maybe making them do certain things that you deem, well, I'm never going to do a deadlift in soccer, so why should I do a deadlift? And my thing would be like, well, deadlift is one of the most taxing on the body, and it has so much benefits from a neuromuscular, the central nervous system, and it's just, hormone response and a testosterone response, and all this stuff that happens when you lift heavy weight that would trigger into athlete, but then go play soccer and then do your possession games and do your dribbling and your whatever you might do on the soccer field. What is, like, break that down. Like, what's your thoughts on both of those? I know there's
That's
people
a very
that
good question.
believe in one and don't believe in the other.
Oh, absolutely. It is so controversial. So that's why I'm thinking about how I'm going to word this, because I do have a strong opinion on it. And I think that kids should not train solely for one sport. 100% disagree with that. They're at such a young age and their bodies are still developing, and the same load or same intensity shouldn't be placed on them week after week after week after week. The best bet for them, looking at it from a pure health standpoint, longevity standpoint, would be to do that cross type of training where you're getting a variety of workouts in. So that's what I make sure I bring to the table. Even though I say I'm very sport specific and we do sport specific things, I make sure there is a variety of overall health, whether that's long distance, training them in cardio, mobility, flexibility, core training, plyometric training, explosiveness, on and on. So CrossFit is great. I do CrossFit myself and I love it. I have specific opinions on it, but as far as kids go, I do think it's a safe place you can leave them as long as there's a good coach present. Because there are certain movements and certain weights that I don't think young kids should be under, specifically because growth plates are still forming and you don't want any detriment, overbearing load on their bodies. So I think if you do have a good coach, and they do have CrossFit kids out there, which is what I would recommend.
Yeah, I think the big thing with kids, like you had said before, the kids' bodies are they're still developing. They can't take on a certain amount of weight. So it's like the kid doesn't have to be maxing out their squat at 14.
Right.
Like, what they need to know is the pattern, the movement pattern, learn the movement pattern. Body weight is fantastic. And then, like you said, med ball. Med ball is a very low impact, medicine ball. You, 14, 20 pounds, whatever it is. That's not that heavy for a kid, and it's very easy, and you could do a lot of stuff with it. I mean, you could do a bear hug and do lunges with it, and then you're putting it, it's almost like a front squat or a Zercher squat. Like, you're putting the weight in the frontal plane, and you're then basically, to counteract that, your core and everything else is basically working. Your back, your posterior is working to brace that. So you're sitting there, and you get that, that balance off of your midline versus putting on your back, like a back squat.
Shifting the loads. Yeah.
Shifting the load. Exactly. And so I think there's a lot of benefit. What about, what was the first thing you said? You said, playing all three sports, or all four sports, being like a 3-sport athlete or 4-sport athlete versus playing just basketball.
Yeah.
So you played what growing up? You said just soccer and basketball?
Soccer was actually my main sport. That's what I loved the most.
Okay.
And then I went on to play basketball in college and picked up tennis senior year. So got a little taste of tennis.
High school?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
So this is my theory on athletes. I grew up playing 3 sports. More, but like organized 3 sports.
Exactly.
And you sound about the same. You played a couple sports.
You can pick up anything. Go play a game of volleyball.
Well, that's
I can still go skate, play pickup hockey.
And I find that at least when I was growing up, and you're younger than me, but like I said, you still were a multi-tier athlete. The idea that I have, the one thing that kills me, is when you see these people that are specialized in a sport. Okay, I've seen this before. We have kids that play soccer. Really good soccer players. It's the only sport they play. Really good. Guess what? They can't. They're so uncoordinated in every other sport. I'm like,
that kills me.
It's athletics, dude. I'm like, how can you not know your body awareness to shoot a basketball? Like, I'm not a hockey player. If you ask me to go skate, or you ask me to go hit a slap shot, it's not going to be great, but it's at least going to be okay. And
I have a
some of
funny
these kids
story.
can't even stand up, and they're like, I don't even know. Like, kids that play soccer can't throw a baseball. Like, throw a baseball, you'd be like this weird, I'm like, it's like smalls from the Sandlot. I'm like, that's really your throw. Like, okay.
So funny story. Clarkson, it was like our end of the year season party for basketball. So we had like a fun practice day. I'm laughing so hard just thinking about it. So like you, I'm athletic, grew up like that, so I can pick up any sport really easy. So coach is like, all right, pick teams, we're playing kickball. I kid you not, there were some girls who could not kick a tiny rolling ball that were coming to them. But we're the best basketball players in the world. Mm-hmm. But we're from somewhere where they only played basketball for their whole life. And if you saw them in that, or even when we were playing soccer, it's like the basketball team playing soccer. Mm-hmm. During that day, it was like you wouldn't even think these people are athletic whatsoever.
Yeah, and I always found it depended on the sport, but like a lot of kids that only played hockey, a lot of kids that only played soccer, a lot of kids that only played like weird sports, and like you only were good at one thing. And it's so funny when you ask someone to like throw a football and they can't throw a football. Mm-hmm. I'm like, how do you not know how to throw a football or throw a baseball? But I played basketball, which obviously shooting, dribbling, all that, hand-eye coordination. Played baseball, so you're swinging. You're hitting something hand-eye coordination with a bat, and you're throwing, and then soccer.
Right. That's why it's important to have variety with your kids growing up, because like you said, there's life after sports where you have to be able to do other things. Mm-hmm. And I think back to tennis, I wish I would have started sooner because I can go out and play tennis right now, whereas there's not really many big basketball, soccer leagues for me, myself, in my 20s. Same with golf. Like I remember... I'm learning.
Really?
So I got
Good.
my first set of clubs this summer, but I remember going with some friends back in high school and I was like, oh, I hate this. Way too slow for me. No way I'm ever playing golf. Now that I'm in my 20s, I'm like, oh, I wish I could play in the summer because I'm not playing soccer every night of the week like I used to.
Golf's been my favorite sport since I like maybe junior high, 4th, 5th, 6th grade.
Okay, so you learned early. That's
I started playing at 10. And the funny thing, I started playing at 10 and a couple guys played. They started to get into it. Now you're starting to see a resurgence in golf because a lot of it is like Barstool Sports has a podcast out. You're starting to see these things on social media. And like every guy in his 20s and 30s is now playing golf. And I'm like, where were these people when I grew up? Because nobody played golf. I had a few buddies that played, but it wasn't as popular. And if you ask most people when they picked up golf, like really picked it up, like actually played it, most of them would probably say like after high school in their 20s and college, something like that. I'm like, I was playing all the time as a kid. I could never play on a team. Also, fun fact, it's got to be mentioned because still riding on a high. Yesterday, after 21 years in my life, got a hole in one.
No way.
Yeah, it doesn't happen ever.
Legit.
Legit.
That is awesome. That's
it
crazy.
It was the most adrenaline pumping I think I've ever had in sports.
Did you buy a round for everyone?
It was. The ball went in the cup at like probably 7:20 in the morning.
Oh,
so no,
God.
It was coffee. We were done the round by like 9:30. So yeah, we were done really early. But
what course were you at?
Bluff Point.
What hole?
Number 9.
Wow.
So this is
Were you doing 9 or 18?
We played 18. But
did you golf good for the rest of the day?
Debatable. I shot an 86.
Ooh.
So this is 86 with a hole in one and a chip and birdie. I wouldn't consider it was okay.
Not the best.
It was okay, but it's got to be said. I'm going to take a minute to brag because this never happens, and I'll probably get to brag about this probably the only time ever in my life. But I absolutely hit a pure gap. I hit this beautiful gap wedge and went out I think it was like 119 yards, slightly uphill. Hit a nice gap wedge. Again, this is like I'm going to bore you, but I don't care. Ball goes up, nice little draw, about a 5-foot draw, and not much draw. Landed a little bit behind the hole. Based on where the pitch mark is in the ball, it had to spin back. So if you spin a ball in golf, it's like, dude, you spun a ball. Like it's kind of like a little chip on your shoulder. So this ball spun back in, went in the hole. Pumped. Big day.
Wow.
Big day. Still riding high, so I had to mention it. But golf's great.
You got to teach me then.
I can show you some basics.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me.
Good.
See, again, I think I could actually be a better coach of golf than a player because I've understood it so much. It's just physically trying to hit all the motions. I used to be good back in high school. I was a really good golfer. Now I'm just like,
I'm not bad with my wedges. It's the driver that gets me.
Really, most people. I guess that's kind of usually for girls. The driver's an easier club because it's easier because the ball's up, it's elevated. The thing with golf, you have to come down on the ball. Your iron, basically every club but your driver, you hit with a descending blow. Mm-hmm. So typically most girls, and I'd say amateurs, but a lot of girls, because of the club head speed, it's hard to come down and get the ball truly up in the air and out.
Gotcha.
Where a driver, because it's elevated, you could basically come and swing through it and the ball will go.
That's what's harder for me, making that ellipse shape. It's almost easier for me to use the wedge.
Yeah,
Don't
but that's
ask me
cool.
why.
No, it's not bad though.
I know
I'm
they
saying-
say it's a
but maybe
harder
because, like I
shot,
said,
so I'm like,
but maybe
okay.
being athletic, you can come down on the ball and you know how to properly come
Yeah.
down on it. So that's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll take you to the range and you can hit. But golf's
That sounds good.
a lot of fun. But yes, keep going. So being a multi-sport athlete, like what kids do you get when you train them that are multi-sport athletes versus single sport athletes?
All of them.
Are what? A mix?
Multi-sport, yeah.
Most of
I
them
don't think
multi?
I have a single one that plays only one sport, which is the best because it makes, my training philosophy a whole lot easier to implement because they're going to benefit in so many different ways. I think it's more common in cities, like downstate. My friends who I played with from
One sport?
Albany, New York City, yes, one sport.
Well, the problem is that those schools, like we're lucky because we live in a pretty rural area. If you go down to a city and you're playing basketball, you have to play basketball. Because there's like, I graduated with a class of 50. You probably graduated with a class of 150, ballpark.
90.
That's all it
And a
was?
small class, yep.
Really?
Yeah, so they even had some of my friends who I played with at Clarkson, they would have classes during their school day that would be specific for their sport. Like if they were soccer players, they'd have instead of gym, they'd have like either a lifting or a soccer training practice in the middle of the day. So some of the girls that are playing D2, D3 were like bench players for these schools, the big AA schools that we're talking about.
You have to, because if you're graduating with like 500 kids in a class, well,
it was like 1,000 plus per class. It was absolutely insane.
If you take that, say you had 100, and how many people went out for the soccer team? Like soccer teams are the same size at every school, but now you have 10 times the people trying out. So you have to be.
Girls.
So basically, it's like if you were to do that, and there's 20 girls on the team, and now you're 10xing everything. That means instead of being the top 20, you had to be the top 2. Mm-hmm. And then it's like relative.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So if you're like, oh, Sierra, you were a good soccer player, but you were probably the 4th best player on the team, you'd be cut.
So they don't have time throughout the year to play any of their sports because they're so focused on training for that one spot to get their playing time.
Yeah,
it's extremely competitive, and it's tough for me thinking back to high school, like the impact sports have had on my life and all the lessons I learned from it, to think that kids there wouldn't have that same opportunity. Here, I think it's such a blessing that, there's some that do get cut, but most of the kids, if you go for a sport, you work hard, you can at least have that opportunity to be part of a team.
Yeah. Do you find that kids that play one sport are at a detriment for long-term athleticism? Meaning, like the way I look at it is, if you say you're a pro athlete, say you're LeBron James playing basketball. Now, LeBron James was a freak football player too, so he's probably bad. He's a bad example. But take like someone that's at the top of their game in one sport. Do you think that after they get done that sport, if they were to train and try to do something else athletic, they could make that shift over? Because I look at like professional basketball players sometimes trying to play golf and like they just can't swing a club. Or or I'm just saying like a sport where they just don't have that athleticism because they've been training one sport for so long that they almost lose the function of other sports. Like if you're a soccer player that played your whole life, take Lionel Messi. Is he going to be able to pick up a football and throw a football or a baseball? Like I don't know the answer, but like
I don't either.
He's a freak
Honestly,
athlete, but he's a freak soccer player.
I don't think I can say. I think the one thing that may be a detriment is if someone is playing one sport that's an individual sport and is missing out on that team sport opportunity.
So you're definitely
were
definitely a team sport.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I try to think of a kid who, like, for instance, my brother rides motocross. So typically motocross, that's only you and your bike. You're not on a team. I mean, besides maybe Yamaha, Honda team when you become a pro, but you're racing by yourself. And just to think that compared to someone who may be a team athlete, I think everyone's geared for different things, but I definitely think it's good to get experience in both.
Did you ride motocross?
When I was little.
Yeah?
Yes.
How was that?
It was fun, and I stopped riding because of sports.
Just time? Or to avoid
Time
injury?
and the injury.
Yeah.
Injury. That's, Because I wish I would have kept with it, now that soccer basketball is done. But the risk of injury is unbelievable. I mean, my brother's race last weekend in Unadilla, a guy died coming off one of the jumps.
Jesus.
And 2 were airlifted. Yeah. So
See, I'm not an
serious.
adrenaline junkie like that. How old your brother?
To them, they don't ride for adrenaline junkie. For him, it's the same exact thing when I step on a basketball court.
Just competition?
Yep. He is.
Really?
Yes.
But he's got to have some
his
kind
jam.
of. How old is he?
He is 16.
Oh,
riding
wow.
with
A
adults.
young kid
He's
died?
very no. My brother's 16.
No. I'm saying in that
No,
race.
he was 54, I believe. He was
Ooh.
in the 50 plus class, but
Accident or just like cardiac arrest or?
nope. Hit a jump wrong, broke his neck, and
Jeez. See, I would never.
yeah.
This is a thing. Look,
I don't want to
If
go
the-
into
if the-
detail, but
yeah, if the negative's like death, dude, I'm out, man. Like skydiving, I have no desire to skydive. I'm like, what's the worst that could happen? You die. Yeah, I'm out. Like that's just not. I mean, I know you could die like crossing the road, but it's the idea of like, it's just a risk. Do I have to jump out of the plane? No, then I'm good. Like that's how I look at stuff. But some people need that adrenaline.
I think it depends on the frequency, though. That's the other aspect of risk. Because
Yeah.
to me, your frequency is higher in a car. Your frequency of
Oh,
skydiving
absolutely.
maybe once. So
The chance of you die in a car accident versus a plane is way more on a car.
Yeah.
Like the planes very rarely. I mean, if they crash is a big deal, but how many cars crash every day? I don't know. I'm not a big adrenaline junkie. Yesterday, getting a hole in one is about all the adrenaline I need. Like I was good with that. Now that you're out of college, what do you think that you're going to do for athleticism at this point?
I got into CrossFit.
So that's where you found
That's
your niche.
my thing. Since I was a little girl, I've kind of always wanted to be a pro athlete, and the fact that CrossFit allows you to go into the CrossFit Open, do the same workout that the pros are doing, and score good enough to make it to the games. I love that idea. So I'm very, very new to CrossFit. I know I have a long
Do you
way
go
to
to
go.
CFP, right?
I've gone to both gyms.
Both? Okay.
Yep.
So I haven't done it in like a year, just like between COVID, between work, and then back, well, it was closed, and then between work and between kids, I just haven't been able to venture back out there. But it is fun because it's that competitive fire.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Before I joined this past March. So once I graduated and stopped playing basketball last May, I had gone a full year of just trying to lift in the gym by myself, and I was losing my mind. I'm such a competitive person at heart. A good loser, but very competitive. So CrossFit, I stepped into the gym and I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going back. I need this.
Yeah, and I think that I was always big on like competing against myself when I did it. Like some people were like, I just want to beat that person. I'm like, yeah, there's like my wife. She's a nut. Like, she's a competitive nut. Like I'd be like, so Jane, did you do better than you did last time? She goes, I got first. I'm like, oh, well, that was not my answer. Like, did you? Because I always look at too. You could come in first, but if you didn't think you put in your 100% effort, then I would be let down. They didn't put my 100%. Like that's my mind always works. Like I just want to put my best output, and if it ends up being first, then it's cool. Like it's first. My wife's just like, I just don't want to be second. I'm like, well, that's
Right.
Like, what about you? Like, so
since I was, oh my God, high school, I think once I finally matured wise, hit varsity sports and then went into college and CrossFit, my philosophy is I show up and I leave everything on the table. I will go until I pass out. I know that's not the best for everyone, but I love pushing myself to that level where it's no longer even physical. It's just me mentally battling. Because they say when you get to the point where you think you're over and you can't do one last push-up, your body's only at 40%. You have so much more in your tank that you just don't know about.
Yeah, it's mental.
Completely.
Yeah, pain.
So that's what I love about
lactic
CrossFit.
acid, like I won't stop.
I'm always going to give my best, but when I love being friends with competitive people because we can go back and forth. Like when I think I have no more and I see that my friend's ahead of me, I'm going to fight to the last second on the clock to make sure I can beat her.
I think that's where the like competitiveness, like I said, my wife, she'll be the one that she really likes. She warms up a lot with really good, like she searches out for the good athletes.
Yes.
And it's because I know her, and her whole thing is if that person is good, I want to be with the good people because it's going to push me to be better. And if I beat somebody, I want to beat the best person. So she always like actively, like we've been to gyms before. And like we'll be traveling, she'll go to like a gym, and we're sitting there, and I don't care. I'm like with the dads, we're just chilling. I'm like, I'm working out today, it's great. And then I look over at her, and she's like talking to the best athletes in the gym, just like
oh my
all of a
God.
sudden she just like warms up to them. I'm like, yeah. So they were this person, and I talked about that. I'm like,
I need to meet her because I am that
never
same
met Gina?
person. No,
oh
but
yeah, you'd love her.
They always say you're the average.
She played D3 soccer. Actually, she got inducted to the Hall of Fame at Plattsburgh State 2 years ago.
That's incredible.
For soccer. Yeah, she was good. She has like all the soccer records at Plattsburgh.
I'm the same way too. I want to be surrounded by the best, so it gives me something to work towards. I mean, aside from my personal best and giving it my all, they always say you're an average of the 5 people around you.
Yeah,
whether it's your 5 friends or
she's a nut. When she gets back we just had our third and last kid, so we're done. But she's itching to get back into it, and once she gets back into it, she's like full bore. You'll meet her, especially she goes to
Awesome.
CFP, but she's the most competitive person I've ever met. Like, and that's saying something. Like, meaning, I mean, I know a lot of people are competitive, but she's a nut. Like, there's something wrong with you upstairs and some of these. But so innovation in entrepreneurship was your degree.
Yes.
Can you explain that? I've never heard of. I've heard of entrepreneurship, but innovation.
Innovation.
I mean, I know what innovation is, but as a major.
So Clarkson was huge on kind of blending the engineering world with the business world. And they had this huge, what's the word for it? I'm drawing a blank on the word. Initiative. They had this huge innovation initiative to kind of blend the two. And while I was there, they built this huge innovation hub with 3D printers and software that you could use to pretty much make anything you wanted. And on top of that, they would have the business mentorship opportunities. Okay. So if you wanted to start a business, you could literally walk up to the third floor of our business school and be like, I want to start a business. They'll pair you with a professor or an alumni or a student and be like, here, let's start your business. So whether it was prototyping or the mentorship aspect or the computer aspect, there was all the help you needed there. So that was the business major I chose. Pretty much geared towards marketing. So a lot of classes, it was creating products, creating services, doing sales pitch competitions, doing consulting work for local companies. A lot of hands-on opportunity.
I like the idea of them helping you start. Was that just that major or was that Clarkson in general?
No, that was Clarkson in general.
So if you're like an engineer student in chemical engineering, I don't mean mechanical, but like civil engineering, you could just like show up and they'd say, hey, listen, I want to plan on how to make sewage better or something. But here, let's do it.
Yeah, you could absolutely do it. The other cool part was they had a program called 3-Day Startup. And 3-Day Startup means you start up a business in 72 hours. And any student who wants to do it, they bring you in a room and then they put you with pretty much a team of cross-discipline students. So they would put you with an engineering student, a finance student, a business student, maybe a psych student, another engineering student, whatever. So if you were seeking someone, say I wanted to create an app, or I had an idea for something and I knew how to do the business-wise, but I didn't know how to actually build it, they would pair you with another student who was kind of looking to do the same thing.
That's pretty dope.
I loved it.
Did they have a lot of... Did you use that service?
I did. Created a few different things.
So what were a couple of them?
Deer was one of them. Deer radar. Yes.
Deer radar. Like hunting deer?
Something that would go on. It was actually a group of another few students from the North Country, but something that would go on your car and detect deer that were off to the side of the road to prevent deer accidents.
So DEERDAR.
Let me... DEERDAR.
DAR.
Yes.
Radar. Radar. Like radar. RADAR.
Yes.
Yes.
Deerdar.
Got it.
Yeah.
Is that actually a thing?
No, we didn't actually make it a thing because of technology, just the cost and the sensor. Yeah. So we did have we tried heat detectors. We tried different. Don't ask me the technical terms. I'm only a business student.
No, that's fine. So, how close was that to going live? Was it more of just like ideas on paper? Like, did you invest money in it? Did you try to raise money?
We did not. At the end of it, though, you do pitch to a panel of investors. So there was opportunity. Complete Shark Tank.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. So that's why I said.
Like a local Shark Tank.
Yeah, local investors. And then we also did New York State Small Business Association pitch competition. So we won some money in that for a different product. It was a fitness product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that you solo doing that one?
No, that was the owner of CrossFit Lake Placid. So Nicholas Scala, and then Will Marklinger, who he is now a second lieutenant in the military. So we got together and we're working on an app for fitness nutrition, something that kind of combines pretty much would spoon feed you a diet plan and a workout plan that mesh together to reach performance goals. So,
and obviously looking at that, is there something in the market right now where you're like, that's competitor, or this is trying to find a niche in that market? Like, is there already something that kind of has that? Because I always wonder when people create apps, do people, I would think two ways. You go in, you find out, is this app even around? Is this something like this even available? If not, let's create it. Or if it is available and there's only like 2 or 3 other ones, can we just make it better and just like basically outperform and market them to the point where like our market share just overtakes them and they sell out to us, or we overtake them? Or because anything you do, like the fitness space, like, man, I don't know. Everybody already has fitness trainers. But if you're good at what you do, you will start taking people away from other people because the people want to go to where the best people are at.
Exactly. So our whole idea was to kind of combine the nutrition and the workout component. There's awesome apps out there that will give you the perfect meal plan. There's nutritionists out there that will give you the perfect meal plan. But sometimes it doesn't necessarily coincide with your training type and what you're training for, when to eat throughout the day, how much to eat throughout the day. Obviously, if you're staying more active and working out, you need more calories in your day. But what you said about there's so many different people out there, I think the philosophy is just wrong when it comes to fitness. The way people see it on social media, the way it's portrayed on the internet.
How so, though?
Typical fitness trainers or different apps that you can download for fitness, they're maybe only going to give you a 1 week or a 1 month, a 3 month, a 24-week program. And I think fitness is so much more of that. The bounce back rate is absolutely terrible. I don't know the exact statistic on working out, but for dieting, 95% of people who go on a diet and lose weight regain weight, and they end up in a worse position than when they first started. So looking at the long term is almost non-existent for a lot of fitness people. And it's almost convinced people that they can lose weight in a month, lose weight in 2 months. Like, it just doesn't happen like that. Your lifestyle for 20 years, that's been absolutely terrible and garbage. You can't fix it in 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
it's going to take time. And people just think, oh, let me take this fat burning supplement. Oh, let me just go to the gym and stay consistent for a month or something like that.
Well, I think, like, I've heard different stuff in the fitness industry. When it comes to, like, in my diet, nutrition, one, it has to be a lifestyle and it has to be consistent. It's a habit. You turn it into a habit and it has to be done over time. It's not...
Exactly.
Like, over time is not a week. Over time is years. So when I look at... kind of was joking about with the curls, or not the curls, but the cleans, the glorified reverse curls. So I was doing these, and I remember looking at that, like pull-ups. Like, I could never do a pull-up. So, like, when I first started, I remember doing my first pull-ups, foot on the chair, and lower myself up and pull, and kind of have my foot there as like a little bit of resistance. If I needed to, kind of push my foot a little bit, but try to do most of the pull and then push on the way out. That was how I learned how to do pull-ups to start. Then it got to the point where, like, I think my dead hang down to up was like 18, 19, 20 pull-ups. That was what I got up to. But I'm like, how do you go from, like, a modified one pull-up that was a lot of probably wiggle and support, you barely get above it, to now you could do almost 20. Literally locked all the way down, locked all the way up.
Progression.
It's progression, but that took me 10 years.
Baby steps.
Yeah. And that's why when I see, especially when I was at the gym, I'm like, person coming in, like, I can't do a pull. I'm like, well, you can't do it yet, but you will. Like, just don't get discouraged, don't quit, just keep going. And the people that stay for a year or 2 years, all of a sudden, especially a year, you go 1 year, a person can be transformed in a year. Are they going to be peaking out their fitness? Absolutely not. But they're going to, like you said, be able to be able to reverse the path and start, again, in the CrossFit, the sickness to wellness continuum, or the sickness to, wellness continuum, where it's like, as you, have you ever taken an L1? CrossFit L1?
I have not.
You have to.
It's on my list.
You have to. So basically what they talk about is a continuum of, if it's kind of a picture like a rainbow, kind of an arch, whatever you want to call it. On one side, or even like a speedometer or like RPM, something like that. At one end is sickness. On the far end is wellness, meaning fitness, all the way to the very end. So if you are hovering in that fit, so pretend that it's a gas gauge and you're hovering on full. Now, what happens if you start to slip a little bit and something happens? You go more towards, sickness, but you're so far away from sickness that even dipping, like if this is where most people are and you're here, anything that dips, people can't see this, but as you dip, you're slowly coming back on the continuum, but you are so to the extreme of fitness that a little dip is not going to be... I haven't worked out much. I would deem better shape than the majority of people still because I put so much emphasis originally.
Yeah.
Now, relative to where I used to be, I'm terrible, but I'm saying on that level, like I'm so far away from
It's
sickness.
resilience. Like when you're already there and you have that bad couple of days, or like you said, you go back a little bit. If you're resilient enough, you can find your way back to that.
But to get to
health.
But to get like when some people don't work out and something happens, well, then they start slipping towards sickness, and sickness is cancer, sickness is high blood pressure, sickness is diabetes, sickness is a lot of these. I mean, I say take cancer out. I'm talking about like high blood pressure and all these things that are internal that can be changed through lifestyle and diet. But if you get to that far end, then you kind of look at it like, okay, like I'm like, so you're trying to get people to that far end because what you're doing is you're hedging people against sickness. And, you're not going to explain that to an 18, 19, 20-year-old, but the 50, 60-year-old, be like, listen, this is why we want you to do resistance training. So literally when you're too old, when you're 80, 90, you can actually get out of bed and get out of your chair and people don't have to help you out because you still have the muscle mass and bone density.
That is the compounding effect. Have you ever read The Slight Edge or Slightest Edge by Jeff Olson?
I have not, no.
I love that book. And it's just about the compounding effect. The things you do today, even though they're small, you're going to get more.
Is it a fitness book or just a
return? No, just a common philosophy.
Like the compound effect book?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, probably similar. Just the small stuff you do today, the reward's going to be exponential at the end of it. So it's kind of like fitness. And I try to tell my clients that you spend, the next year, 2 years, you get into this habit, the reward and the effect is going to be so much more down the road when you have that extra 10 years on your life, when you don't have disease, when you're fighting cancer,
Well, like I said, even when you're 80 and you still get out of the chair and people don't have to assist you out. Like, I know it sounds crazy, and people are like, well, that's dumb. I'm like, is it? Like,
it's so much more important than just now. Like, no one thinks about longevity. And when you're 60 or 70 years old and your bones are brittle, same thing goes for nutrition. If you don't eat a proper diet now.
Think about when you're old and you fall and all of a sudden, like you're bruised, you're damaged, you have to go to the hospital because of whatever. And it's like, and obviously we're both still, you're young. I still feel young. But it's the idea that like when you, like, I look at that as like, obviously I'm not doing it right this second because of that, but I know that's a long-term effect. Like I would be doing fitness now just to make sure that I can run around and not feel sore and I can lift stuff up and pretend I'm strong. Like that's what I would do now as a 30-year-old dude. But when I'm 80, 90, I'll be like, thank God I did it throughout my whole life because now I can do a lot of stuff that others are in the nursing home for.
Exactly.
And, barring any like major injury or major like, cancer or paralysis or being paralyzed, like stuff that you really can't avoid. The internal stuff you can avoid, like diabetes. You can typically you can avoid type 2 diabetes at least, and then
I think a lot of it you can prevent.
Yeah,
I mean there are genetic stuff or genetic diseases that you can't necessarily prevent, but the choices of your lifestyle, I think 100% have a direct impact on your health down the road. Yeah,
like blood pressure and like insulin. I mean, there's so much stuff because a lot of it's internal. Is the big one,
and I think a lot of people, they're just not willing to suck up the short term pain for the long term gain.
Well, it's hard,
if that makes sense.
Fitness and nutrition's easy, but it's hard. You know what I mean? Like I'm saying it's easy to do. Like you can have someone could call you and you'd be like, listen, eat this and do these movements. Easy. I got it for you right here. It's hard to do it. It's hard to stay accountable to yourself. It's hard to be disciplined. It's hard to, turn it into a habit because it's way easier to lay in bed. It's way easier to stay on the couch. It's way easier to grab something that's quick versus prepping. Like we all fall victim to it, but fitness at the end of the day is super easy. It's just people have to, the concept is easy. Following it and staying diligent is hard. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that most people can run, most people can do jumping jacks, most people can do push-ups, most people can do sit-ups, most people, like they physically are able to do that by being a human. Mm-hmm. The idea, though, is you've let yourself go for so long that maybe you can't do a pull-up, or you keep eating crap food all the time. Well, you could eat good food, and then you'd be that much better. But it's hard to do that.
I think it depends on how important and how much of a priority it is on the road for you.
That's it, 100%.
Like having that discipline.
Yeah, you gotta
like you
choice.
said, it's not going to be easy. You have that decision. It's all in your power as well.
But like people know it too. Like I got to work out and eat better, but it's easier not to do it. It's I'm saying like it's an easier choice for people not to choose to do it it's hard to choose something that's easy.
I think it also depends on the knowledge people have and the knowledge people have access to, because I know for a lot of people, some of my clients specifically have worked with coaches in the past where it wasn't successful. And I'm like, all right, what did they tell you for nutrition? Oh, they threw me this diet and told me to count macros my first day in the gym and told me I need to change everything. I'm like, okay, no wonder why you failed.
Yeah.
My first step with all my clients is to eat 2 servings of vegetables a day and keep track of that for a month. Then the next step, fruit. Let's have 2 servings of fruit a day for a month. The next step, introduce protein. Eat this serving a day per month. And we just keep building on it based on where they're at, increasing their veggies, increasing their fruit, increasing their whole foods. When I give that to my clients, it's easy. They're like, oh, I've got it. And they have that feeling of accomplishment to keep on going. Now, when I have them 6 or 12 months down the road, all those little steps have led to a complete diet transformation. It's not only a habit at this point, but it's just a lifestyle. They're not even thinking about it when they do it. So that's how I make my clients healthy. And I think that's where coaches also fail, is when you try to introduce too much change at once. People think they have to change too much at once, and it's too hard, so people give up.
I was talking with, one of my business coaches. She was basically saying pivots. She goes, I just want you to make a small pivot. And I made one about 2 weeks ago, very small. Like, I would tell you to and be like, really? That was a big deal? I'd be like, 100%. And it was a very small step that I implemented in our business that clients won't see, nobody will see. I see it. Internally, we see it. It's a very small thing. Now she was like, okay, what's one pivot here and what's one pivot? And we both decided, I'm like, 2 easy pivots that I literally could make today that will have an impact. Let's not rearrange everything. Let's just make 1 or 2 things, baby steps, make sure you got it. That becomes a habit. Now, once it's a habit, it's a habit. And then it's like, what's the next thing? And next thing you know, you've put more rungs on the ladder. Now you're higher up. So a lot of it is putting emphasis on it. A lot of it is, I think a lot of the discipline becomes on the emphasis you put on it and the discipline and how much you value it. If you value being in shape, if you value eating well, you will do it. It's
100%.
It's kind of like, you remember college and high school, and someone was like, all right, that project's due in 6 weeks. Nobody did it that first week because it wasn't a priority, wasn't an emphasis on it. All of a sudden, the last week, oh shoot, there's the deadline. This has to be done in the next week. And then all of a sudden, like, everybody's now put that as priority, and they scramble, and then they did everything that week because they had to. There's a deadline.
The same goes for fitness, though. Like, if you found out tomorrow you were diagnosed...
Sarah, you can move that down, too. You're talking... Oh, okay.
No, same thing goes... Like, if you found out tomorrow that you were going to be diagnosed with some terrible cardiovascular disease, and the doctor told you it's been because of all your health, your whole life, the poor choices you've made, you would be probably so willing to change it in that next month, and you'd be like, hands down, this is important, I'm going to do it. But just because we can't see that 20, 30 years from now, we choose not to do it. It's the same cheeseburger analogy. You eat one a day every single day. You gain 50 pounds down the road and you're like, oh my God, that's absolutely terrible. At the end of the day, when you have one, though, you don't see the impact of your choices. So you still think it's okay to continuously do it.
It's like people that smoke. It's like, oh, what's worse? And like, well, 30 years from now, like you start running it's like, I mean, like I said, it's all like, I look at like stretching. Like, I should be stretching. When I'm stretching, I feel great. If I'm not stretching, I'm like, God, why don't I stretch every day? So I feel I stretch, I sleep better, I move better, I'm not achy, like everything just flows. It's all like, I just feel grooved. Like I feel like my body's all like like all the joints are just like grooved or greased up. Like they just feel like, it just feels like my body's got like WD-40 in all the joints. Yeah. I'm just moving. But now if I don't, then I feel like I'm like Tin Man. I'm like squeaking. I'm getting up. I'm like, oh my God, my back. So
it happens when you get old.
It's
just kidding.
Well, no, it does. So I mean, you're, like I said, you just got out of college. Give yourself some years. Keep doing what you're doing, because then of course you get old people. I'm feeling
it already.
Yeah, like old people are like, oh, you just wait. I'm like, I believe you. Trust me, I believe you. Because when I was 18 to 25 was different. Now 25 to 31, I'm like, whew, yeah, I'm hurting now. Versus, like I'm getting to the point now. There's certain things like I don't even want to do physically, like jump. Like, hey, can you jump up to that and be like, honestly,
knees are gonna hurt.
Honestly, I just like don't want to pull like a muscle. Like, I mean, that's literally what I think about. If someone was like, hey, can you just jump up on that? Like, run and jump up on that. I'd be like, oh, let me just stretch out a little bit and do it because like I can feel the muscles just aren't firing like they should be because again, everything's stiff and short and gross. But where did you get the name Evolve Performance Training?
Oh, don't ask me. That was that kept me up at night.
Because since I've known you, you went from
I was Sierra Gonyo Fitness.
Yes.
Because I couldn't come up with a name, and I just needed to have
So it's nice
a
and
legal
original.
name. So
it's like
I was
Dave
like,
Matthews
all right.
Band, one of my favorite
Yeah,
bands.
but I did not want my name in there. Anyway, 6 months go by. I thought about it for like a good 2 months straight, and I'm like, all right, this is stressing me out way too much for just a name. So maybe if I stop looking right at the problem, it'll come to me eventually. That was my philosophy. And I had a business mentor that I worked with, and he was like, all right, I'm setting a deadline for you. You have 1 week to get a name. And it just came to me. I'm not sure how, but it kind of fits my whole philosophy on evolving and gradual change, and that it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
So when it came to me, I was like, wow, that's, super fitting as far as my clients evolving over their whole lifestyle. Because when I work with someone, I truly want to change their life for good.
So now I'm going to ask you to put like your business person hat on for a second there.
Okay.
So I always look at, like our company, like people always ask, like, why isn't Trombley Realty? Because I'm like, well, like, one, I don't care. There has been a Kavanaugh involved with this since in 30 something years.
Right.
Like, but the idea is like people know the name, and I could care less what it's called because at the end of the day, if people know the name, I'm not going to be doing Kavanaugh Realty for like at some point in time. I'm just not going to do real estate anymore. Like it's just going to happen. I'm going to retire, whatever. At some point, hopefully, you can sell it off to somebody. Like if it's Trump, like now Kavanaugh's the last name of a person. But it's the idea of like the resale value. If it has the name, why would I change it and try to rebrand it just so I can have my name on it? Because some people, at least when I look at like Sierra Gonyo Training. I mean, people have done it. Like, isn't like Les Mills? Isn't that a name?
Yeah, but I don't want people just to know it for me. Like you said, eventually my goal is to bring on a bunch of trainers, grow my business, expand. And when I have other trainers working underneath me who may possibly take over, like you said, when I retire someday or sell it off, I don't necessarily need my name on the front of it.
Well, the name's always a weird concept, but sometimes it works. Is it then brings more value to like, oh wait, wow, you're Sierra Gonyo, like Sierra Gonyo Fitness, like it becomes this thing. But then it could be like Evolve Performance, you don't even know who it is, but then it ends up being easier because you've built a brand around the company, not necessarily a person.
Exactly.
So there's always because I know some people have done very well with their name, like Charles Schwab is a bank. There's actually a guy named Charles Schwab, like he owns the company, like he started the company, as founder. He's just like,
I love that company.
Yeah, we're called Charles Schwab, and it's like, wait, you literally named your company. That'd be like you naming the fitness just Sierra Gonyo.
No, I did think about that because, there's Jillian Michaels out there and all these other...
Yeah. But I think they built up a social media and now she obviously was before that with like The Biggest Loser, but you look at that as they built up a reputation around not just their name as a brand, but not necessarily the company. Like The Biggest Loser was not Jillian Michaels' Biggest Loser.
Right.
Or Bob Harper. It wasn't that. But I mean, you're doing a great job on social media of like making sure that people know. That's what I did with real estate. Like people have to know you. Like your business, same as my business, they're going to use you if they know, like, and trust you.
Right.
So how do they know you? They know you because you're on social media. I know of her. I know who I've seen her stuff. Then how do they like you? They got to meet you. Like
it's so important though. Being in a smaller town, I consider Plattsburgh still a small town.
Oh, absolutely.
But
yeah.
marketing wise, it's all been word of mouth.
Yeah.
90% of it.
Well, so I mean, at the end of the day, reputation's everything. So if you go on social media and paint this picture that the perception is so much greater than reality when they meet you and like, God, she's not really that good. That's the part you don't like. I'm picking on you. I'm not saying you're good.
No,
but
that happens all the time with people.
But the idea is that if you're from a reputation standpoint, is like if you're putting it out there, try to be as real as you can. I like being like.
That's what I was going to use the term paint a picture. And I'm like, that's the last thing I do. I am real through all my things, show things my business is actually doing.
Yeah. And
show the ways I train my clients.
Well, even like, even going through and telling like struggles or telling like things that aren't good. Like if I don't edit any of these podcasts. Like, and the thing is, like, I could make this sound really, really, really good. Like, I don't say I don't swear. I keep it very like reading off of a teleprompter. That's not me. Like. I don't know what the hell I'm going to say on this. Like, I have, like, this sheet, which honestly, like, I keep skimming it because I haven't actually read the paragraph yet. That's usually how I am. It's just, like, let's just off the cuff. but it's real. You get like the authentic version of me, and that's why I like this format. Like, you can't hide on this. You're just talking. So,
I love it.
Yeah. So if I'm like,
awesome.
yo, Sierra, like, answer this question.
Not
you're like,
scripted at all.
no, like, and then you just kind of, because a lot of it, I'm asking you questions that you should know. Because I'm like, asking about yourself. Like, usually people know themselves pretty well.
Yeah.
So, so what do you do for fun besides fitness? Like, you're not just fitness.
I don't
you got
know.
a life. Like, is that really much it?
That's
like,
my life.
right now? Just the grind of building this company up?
Exactly. No, I am an outdoorsy person, 100%. Like, you can barely find me, and I pretty much sleep inside, and that's about it. So, seriously.
Pack a camp.
Oh, yeah. I'm like
So
finishing up my 46ers. I am camping and backpacking every weekend, canoeing, kayak camping, all that good stuff.
Where did the love of the outdoors come from for you?
I grew up camping for as long as I can remember, since I was a baby. Well, I couldn't remember when I was a baby.
You were little. Early memories.
Probably elementary. Yeah, early memories. Parents, grandparents, camping trips. Like, I was just such a lucky child growing up because my parents and grandparents did everything with me. They were teaching me how to fish. They were teaching me how to go on the canoe. They were teaching me how to put up a tent. A bunch of basic things that I think kids now who are inside on technology don't get to experience it. And that's why I do struggle with my business, because it does require a lot of technology. Because part of me, I like to shut it off and like to enjoy the outside. And I'm just a firm believer in the power of Mother Nature. And I love when I'm out there in the mountains thinking, like, we have such a beautiful world that we live in. I just soak every second of it up.
Do you have any intention of moving out of the area?
100%.
You do want to move out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Now, why would you, based on what you just said, why would you move?
Because if we weren't meant to move, we'd have roots instead of feet. I think we're meant to go explore, and I've always had travel in my blood ever since I moved abroad. And I think there's so many, that one experience when I lived abroad in Scotland for 6 months, it brought so much to my life as far as the way I thought, my perceptions, everything changed completely. So it's almost like this drive inside me that I need to go explore different cultures. I need to go meet new people. I need to go try different things. Because when you get comfortable, you're not growing.
Well, where do you plan to go? I mean, if you just thought about travel. I mean, just not bad thing to travel.
I want to pick up and go. So I see myself living in a bunch of different places throughout my 20s. I just went to Nashville this past weekend. Absolutely fell in love. I think I cried on the plane ride home because
Really?
I am not.
I'm going
ready to
there in
leave.
October.
Yeah, that was like, I loved the people there. They kind of reminded me of home in a way, because they weren't city-like people who I had thought city-like people were. Like, it was very country. People were open. Like, it was Southern hospitality. Everyone was friendly. That or Texas, Tennessee or Texas.
Have you been to Texas?
No, I have not. But
I went to Texas first time in April. Texas is pretty cool.
No, I like, for business reasons, both in retirement, both states are absolutely amazing.
Okay.
So I could see myself settling in either one. And politically, I think it suits me more. And like I said, I just want to get up and
Tennessee's
travel.
your income tax.
I know.
Not a bad gig.
No,
Not a bad gig.
not at all. Where in Texas did you go?
San Antonio.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was dope. My cousin got married. We went, Texas is massive, which, I know, like, everybody's like, yeah, duh. But I mean, it's like an understatement. Like, people are like, yeah, we traveled from 6 hours. Like, where were you? And they're like, here. I'm
Texas,
like, what?
the other side.
Yeah, they said, one of the stats was, I forgot, was it El Paso is on the west coast of the state. It is closer to San Diego, Pacific Ocean, than it is to the east part of the state.
It's crazy.
So, like, you can literally drive left and go, like, all the way to the ocean instead of going to the Gulf Coast, which is still Houston on that side. Like,
Right.
that's how far it is.
It's
like,
crazy. It's just like Alaska, too. People have no idea how big this state actually
Alaska's
is.
the biggest.
Yeah, like a fourth of the United States.
So the thing that blows
crazy.
my mind about Alaska...
How close it is to Russia?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew there was that. Because me too.
Every time you
Like,
see it on
it's
like, I
absolutely
know,
crazy.
it's one of those things like, I know it is, but when you actually see it on a map,
right
you're
there.
like, it's like Arctic Circle, man. Like,
Yeah.
it is, because it's higher up. Is United States the only country in the world that has, like, states that are not actually, like, land to its land? I don't know if that's true or not. I'm
Wait,
like
that don't have what?
a country that is not not tied together.
No,
Meaning,
there's
like-
plenty of other like islands.
But are they part of countries? Like Hawaii is a state, and Alaska is
No, I'm
geographically
thinking of
on
the
Canada,
islands
but it's
that-
our state.
Italy has islands, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not talking like
Okay, I don't.
like I would look at like Italy's islands like the equivalent of like going to like Nantucket. Isn't
Okay,
Nantucket or
yeah.
Martha's Vineyard? That's like an island off of Massachusetts. So I believe it is. I might be wrong, but like one of those, whatever down there. I think Martha's Vineyard.
Someone
and
who lives there and is listening to this is laughing at us.
I know.
Right now.
I think lobster.
I haven't
but
been
I think Martha's Vineyard. I think Nantucket. I don't know if Nantucket's an island. I know it's a town or whatever, but Martha's Vineyard's an island. But that's like a little island off of Massachusetts. Like I could see, like I went to Italy and we went to Capri, whatever you pronounce it.
That's cool.
So it's part of Italy, but it's an island. So it's like I wouldn't really deem that. I'm thinking like Alaska,
like separate. Yeah, I know.
I mean,
what you're
Alaska's
saying.
way up, and it's connected only to Canada.
That's why America.
But it's our state.
yeah.
And then Hawaii is the same as if you went to like Bora Bora, you went to Fiji.
Oh,
It's like
so
out in
far
the
out
middle.
there.
But I
Yeah.
mean, it's like its own size-wise to be its own country, but it's part of the United States.
and like our we have so much in the U.S. It's absolutely
But is there-
unbelievable.
I'm
the
trying to-
different climates and the size of the U.S.
But is there another country? I'm trying to think of another country would have another location that's like right off of it. Like I want to say China, which I think this was like a political thing the other day. Like Hong Kong is not part of China, I think it's not part of China, but they're like right next to each other. I think Hong Kong's like its own country now. I don't know. It's like a very politically charged thing. I don't know. I know Hong Kong's like down there. So, but that one's almost. But that's again, it's like right off. That'd be like Hawaii being like not far away from California. Like Hawaii's like in the middle of the
it's out
Pacific
there.
Ocean.
Out there. Most people think it's like a little island off California. And I'm
Well,
like,
the thing with
I
Hawaii
realized
is
a
when you
map,
look
it's
at it on a map, go further left and down. You're like, it should be. Oh wow, it's way out here.
Yeah.
Like still to this day, I'm like, I can't believe Hawaii's that far off of the coast. I don't know if there's another country. I know this sounds weird, but I'm really thinking if there's.
I am too.
There might not be. Like that's just it. I've never thought about it before, but I can't think of another country that would just say, "Oh, by the way, like another part of our country's on that side." I know it's weird. Mm-hmm. Thoughts I ponder like during a podcast.
Podcast thoughts.
Random thought. What is like a
Kinda
random
like shower
fact? What's a
thoughts.
random factoid you know that you like
That I
don't-
know?
that you don't think people would know?
Oh my god, I have a lot.
Really? Are you like
Random fact that
are you like
I
a
don't, I don't know.
Mythbuster?
Maybe this is just no. It's like
you just
I know
like
all my
jumped at it. You're like, I have
presidents.
a lot. You know all the presidents?
I know all the states.
What,
I know
the whole-
all elements of the periodic table. I know
Whoa,
50 numbers of pi.
Back it up. So, because I know you're a smart girl.
That's just a weird fact.
Like I know
about
you're, but
me.
I know you're like a smart girl
So.
too, because I know you, like when you talked about when you graduated, you were a 4.0 or something, right? You were.
No, first highest major or highest GPA in my degree.
Yeah, you're
Not a
smart.
4.0 though.
Okay, you're much higher than I was.
Statistics and probability got me.
Okay, so all the states, meaning you know all the states like in order.
Alphabetical order.
Okay, so that's weird. Like all this, I mean not weird, but that's
Presidents in order.
like from zero.
Washington.
You could
to
do,
Biden.
wait. If right now you could
I
do
could
all
go.
50.
Yeah.
You wait. You could do all 50.
There's not
no,
50.
No, what are we at to now? 45,
I'll have to say them.
46,
You'll have to keep
47?
track.
Wait, I want to have you do this. But so states,
Okay. Pi.
pi to what decimal?
50 numbers.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Give me just a sec. I'm
Okay,
gonna,
you can-
Sarah, I'm gonna
you
no.
can test
give
me
my-
out.
Give me a phone.
Okay,
I'm gonna test
okay,
you on all of these. What was the last thing you just said? The first
Elements
one.
of the periodic table.
How many? Oh, you got it. Thank you. How
All
many?
of them, but I can't pronounce like the second half of them.
Do you have photographic memory?
I do.
Really?
So like pi, 8th grade classroom at NCCS, my teacher had this huge pie chart around the classroom, and algebra was just so easy to me, so I never paid attention in class, but I spent all my days memorizing that chart. So it's like a phone number.
Wait. Let me bring this up. Do you want to
I
do
know,
pi
this
first?
No, let's do presidents.
This you're gonna do. Wait. So
Okay,
we got
okay,
presidents. This blows my mind because
I am not singing the Element song. I have the video on my Facebook if you want to go watch it.
No, we're not.
Okay, that one's way too long.
States, President States, Elements. What was the last one?
I can do alphabet backwards, pi.
Alphabet backwards, like smooth, or like alphabet.
Oh, like very smooth and fast.
Do it really quick.
ZYXWVUTSRQPONMOKJISGFEDCBA. Boom.
Are they all like that?
Kind of.
Wait,
not that fast.
Are you just like a weird kid that just learned that?
So no.
Like, how'd you learn this?
So remember, I said I was a busybody. Like, never could really sit down. I was never watching TV. I was never watching movies. Car rides. I loved car rides, but I used to get so fidgety when we'd go on road trips with my family. So they literally would buy me the chart and they'd be like, have it memorized by the time we get there. And then I'd be like, here you go.
Okay. What is the first 100 digits of pi? You can go to 50.
I can go to 50. Yeah. You want me to go?
This is insane. Okay. Go ahead.
Is this a good fun fact?
This is insane if you could do it. I know 3.14.
3.1415926535897933238466433846279502884197169937. Close. I may have messed up a few in there.
What was the last one you said? 69.
Oh, I don't know. I got to go through the whole thing. 6939 or 69366.
So you literally got everything up to you went 69377 at 69399. You literally had everything up until that, which that might have been 51, 52, right. 53. I don't know.
Cool.
Holy crap. Wow. Okay, wait, because I'm a very not smart person. So.
Yes, you are. This does not determine smarts. This is just a photographic memory. No.
I can do that.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's very cool.
Give me the states.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Cool.
2 mistakes.
Where?
You didn't say Indiana. Okay, so I'm
Indiana, Illinois.
It goes
Iowa.
Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa.
Okay, cool.
Okay, now I'm picking on you because you literally got 48 or 50 correct. And the other one was you had Oklahoma and Ohio rotated. It goes Ohio, Oklahoma.
Yeah, but did you hear me?
Ohio.
I blended 2 of those.
You went,
Ohio,
Oklahoma or something. And then you end up stopping.
Let's make it a new state.
You stopped it, and then you went Oklahoma, Ohio. So it was Ohio, Oklahoma. So you actually,
Oregon.
Originally when you said it, you said Ohio, Homa or something.
Ohio, Homa.
So you actually had it right, and then when you recorrected, you switched them. But again,
that's funny.
That's incredible. And then,
Thanks.
See, now I don't think the presidents are going to be that cool, even though I just want to hear you say them.
No, they're not.
Not because the fact that you could just... You basically just said all the states. That's harder to say in alphabetical order. I think it would be the presidents in order. But because we're here, and for the sake of... Because we're here, Okay, go ahead.
Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Adams, Jackson, Van Buren, Harrison, Tyler, Taylor, Fillmore, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley, Roosevelt, Taft, Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden.
Yeah.
Did you count how many?
There's 46.
46. Okay.
Holy
See,
crap.
I wouldn't even know how many there were.
So what is... it's because they had different vice presidents. Gotcha. Okay. Boom. Only president to be president twice.
Cleveland?
Yeah. Grover Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
23 was Harrison, then Cleveland again. What a world, man. That's kind of trippy. Periodic table. This is going to be...
Oh. I'm not going through the whole thing.
How far are you going?
There's hydrogen,
this is
helium, and lithium.
Oh, you got a whole song.
Boron, carbon everywhere, nitrogen all through the
like
air.
big
that's why I
theory?
said I'm not going through it. There's so many.
Okay. Actually, you know what's cool?
What?
Element number...
I hate chemistry, though. Absolutely hate chemistry.
Yeah, there's a bunch of weird ones. And then it's lanthanide series, actinide series. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Like that's too. We're just making up stuff.
I was a physics girl.
Tantalum is a periodic element. My ring is made out of tantalum.
Really?
Yes, it's
No
on the
way.
inside of it. Yeah, so it's
Not titanium, but tantalum.
yeah, it's
That's cool.
It literally says tantalum TA73 on the
No
inside.
way.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's wild, like a new way to make rings. But wait, so you just what's other stuff you know? I'm not going to have you to repeat it, but like what's some like legit stuff? That was incredible.
Just stuff I know.
I don't know. That blew my mind. I just
Thank
didn't think
you.
that was like something like someone carried around.
I know.
Like,
I
their
don't tell
pocket.
many people because
That's
then they're like,
that's a
"Oh,
cool-
she's a weirdo."
That's like a cool party trick right there. I'd be like, "Yo, I know all the
It
states
is.
in alphabetical order.
When yeah,
I know pi up to 50. I might just be like 1, 2, 8, 9, 3, 7, 5, 6, 7. Like, and like no, you
Just
literally
like,
like,
no, it's like a phone number. I can just rattle it off. But no, it's photographic memory, which is
like a legit photographic memory. Like
yeah.
if I
I
asked
think
you
that's
like
yeah. So when I was in high school, which I mean, I had a 100 one quarter and graduated first. And I have to say that it was because I could literally memorize the image of a textbook page or my notebook page and be like, oh, this is on the third line of this page. So here's how I know the answer. Like that's how I would recall things in my head.
so if I was to write down
So I'm terrible at writing. If you told me that's
like write a
I
sentence
was
or something. Or you mean
horrible.
penmanship sucks?
no, like
Being able
writing
to,
an
like-
essay, like putting together something fluent and using creative ideas, like
But if
that
I wrote,
is the
like-
death of me.
If I wrote like 50 words on a piece of paper and gave it to you, how quickly could you memorize those 50 words?
Oh, not that quick.
Okay, so it's not like I can
that
look at
terrible.
it and be like,
No, but that's how I would like do my speeches as well. So impromptu speeches, I could write something before, write it, repeat it maybe 5 times, and then I could recite the speech.
I remember when I was a kid in high school, so we had spelling, like for some reason they still gave us like spelling
spelling.
tests. Spelling tests. We have spelling tests once a week, and we would
Yep.
have vocab tests once a week. And I got 100 the entire year. And this is what happened. Like in my first class, it was homework. I'd show them like, what do we got today? Spelling test. I was a junior in high school.
Did you just memorize?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd sit there, and I don't think I had a photographic memory, but I pulled my sheet out. So I had like the sheet that, again, like I said, not a priority till the last day. So here I'm
Right.
rushing. Of course, I had it for a week. So like I literally look at it for the first time, and I'm like, okay. And it wasn't like spell pen. It was like bigger words, that you would have. Whatever. Innovation might be a word. You know what I mean? So I'd like look at like let's say innovation. It'd be like innovation. Okay, vation. 2 ends. Innovation. I'm like, okay, done. Next one. Boom. So I just kind of got to the point where I could kind of come up with some kind of like sequence to it.
Yeah.
And then when it was like, what's innovation? What is the clue word for what innovation was? I don't know if it was, that one might have been like matching up the pairs on the vocab. And I remember just looking at like innovation and be like, innovation is the idea of like coming up with something new or something like that. So it'd be like new, end, 2 ends,
yeah.
in. Like I'd be just dumb stuff like that. I'd be like, done,
Yeah.
got it, next one. And
That's so
it was like I knew the word. I just knew how to match them up because I'd find some little thing that would. Do you watch The Office?
No.
Ever?
No.
Why not? Too busy
The
in the woods?
humor is like too dumb. Like it's not even humor to me.
Okay, so you're way too smart for me
I'm
because I
very
find that
no,
humor hilarious.
no. I'm very like sarcastic, witty humor, but
It is
that's just like dumb, makes no sense.
So there's one scene. Michael Scott, he's doing a speech out in like one of the other branches. He's sitting there with Pam, and they're like, "How do you recognize all these people?" And he's like, one guy was like, "I forgot what it was." But he'd be like, "Yeah, blue shirt, Baldy," and he's like, and he would go through all the names, the names he had. And they weren't their real names, but he'd be like,
That's
"Yeah,
so
Baldy."
funny.
She goes, "Who's Baldy?" That guy, or who's and like some random name, like shoes, big what, and they like pan down and he'd have like weird
Yeah.
shoes on. It was something weird like that. So that's what I thought it was. But no, the memory aspect. Like, are you good with people and faces, names?
Not names.
Okay.
Good with faces.
So if like you saw somebody on the street,
My
that I
short
recognize
term
it.
no, my short term memory is pretty bad actually.
Okay. Long term,
Good.
just because it's so
Really
ingrained
good.
in the memory.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I remember I think a lot of memory has to do with where you were in time. So I have a very clear memory of things that happened to me when I was in school and up to high school The reason being, like if a song played, that came out.
Oh yeah, I have that too.
Like that came out in 2004. Like how do you know that? I just remember it because I remember that song
Connected it to a place.
to my basketball team in that year, and I was on that team when it came out. So like that stuff, it could have been when a movie came out.
Yep.
It could have been when some historical event happened because I just knew where I was in time, so I could then play back. I was that age, it was this year, and
I would say when the prisoners broke out of Dan Mora, like I
still in high
remember
school.
exactly what I was doing, where I was when I got the news. But no, I was gonna say my sense of smell. I'm a weirdo with smell. That will bring back like a memory that I'd say that's my strongest.
Your sense.
Yeah, strongest sense that will.
Yes.
I will reminisce on. I don't know if you're the same way, but I can be like, oh my god, this smells like.
Absolutely. Well, like feel is not a big deal. Like you very rarely do feel something like, oh my god,
No.
that feels like something. Sight for sure, because you might see something that you could see an old photo, or all of a sudden be like
Deja
hey,
vu,
or like your
or-
parents be like, hey Sarah, remember this doll or something? You're like, oh my god, yeah. Like I haven't seen that in like 15 years. Like that stuff happens, but yeah, smell's a big one. Like I've noticed it more and more now, where I'll smell something. I'm like, God, that reminds me of 8th grade I remember when I was 8 years old at this time. And like, I don't know why it clicks, but your memory, like even though you can't like tap into your memory all the time, I do find that like everything that happened to you is always in your brain. Every experience you've ever
And
had,
something specific can bring it out, or something you see, something. Yeah.
like it might not be top
You
of mind, but like the monotonous of a day.
Right.
Like just go through your day, and you don't think of it, and then all of a sudden, if something like really taps into that, you're like, oh my god, I see it as clear as day.
That's kind of like your dream. Have
Yeah,
you ever
dreams
couldn't remember what you dreamt about, and then you go out, you have a conversation with someone, and they say something, and I'm like, oh my god, I remembered my dream from last night.
Oh,
that happens to me all the time.
We're getting chirpy here. So so one of the things I learned about was, I mean, I've talked about before on the podcast, is Mandela Effect. Do you know what that is?
I've heard of it.
So Mandela
I
Effect.
couldn't tell you the definition of it.
So Mandela Effect basically is stating that we potentially live in alternative universes,
Yes.
and that what you think is actually legit actually never happened, but because you think it happened, it might have happened to you in an alternative universe, even though like this is like going deep.
I don't
So one of the things that really got me. So if you look up like stuff with the Mandela Effect, and the whole purpose of the Mandela Effect, like when you talk about like dreaming, like did I dream that or did that really happen? Let me see. I'll give you some Mandela Effect list. Let's just start with that. 40 mind-blowing examples of the Mandela Effect. So this is just stuff that, and I'll try to pick out ones that might clue you in. Basically, like people thought that like Nelson Mandela had died, but he actually didn't die. He was in prison, got out, and like whatever. So that's what started. So like first one they say is like peanut butter. Was it Jif or Jiffy?
Jeff.
It's just regular Jif, but it makes you think. So like one of them was like,
Yeah.
is it Looney Tunes TUNES or Looney Tunes TOONS?
No idea. Never watched.
Okay. Like Bernstein Bears. Okay, that was a book. I don't remember Bernstein Bears.
Yeah.
Okay. Like Bernstein Bears, the Bernstein Bears didn't exist. It was an A, so the Bernstein Bears, even though everybody called it Bernstein Bears. It was EIN. Everybody
Really?
was actually AIN. Yeah, it gets weirder. Did Curious George have a tail?
I don't know.
He was a monkey. Okay. Let me go to the ones that really
seems-
like messed with me. That was like, wait. Like Skechers. Spell Skechers out on your, like, write it down like Skechers shoes. How you think it's spelled?
With a CH, not a T.
CH, not a T.
So SKECHERS.
Is that?
I feel like that's how I visualize it spelled out. Yeah. Even though if I heard the word Skechers, I'd throw a T in there. Like
Okay,
sketch.
You're actually right.
Yeah,
Most people got
I
that
can
wrong.
see it on a shoe.
So you've just
Photographic
because of that.
memory.
Okay. So this is. Let me go to the ones that. Did the Monopoly Man have a monocle? You know what a monocle is, right?
No.
Like it's like the eyepiece that goes over their eye.
Oh. No.
Do you know that, or are you just guessing?
No, I don't think he does.
Wow,
Does he?
you're really good.
No.
Yeah, 'cause, like
I'm
you've
picturing
actually.
my Monopoly board right now.
So this is the one that really threw me.
Okay.
off.
Okay.
really threw me off. I'm trying to find it. Because you're basically just crapping over all my stuff right now. Because I'm like, listen, and you're like, dude, that actually didn't happen. Fine. Did you ever watch? Okay, Forrest Gump. Do you remember the line about chocolates? Did you ever watch Forrest Gump?
No.
Okay.
Clips.
So
Clips.
people always thought, this is what people would typically say, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. But life was like a box of chocolates. Because he's talking in the past tense. I know it sounds, people are probably like, yeah, duh.
Huh.
But, okay, also, mirror, mirror on the wall. That's why I get excited. Mirror, mirror on the wall. She never said that. She said, magic mirror on the wall in Snow White. But everybody thinks it says mirror, mirror on the wall.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
Never
that one.
happened. Okay. Perhaps the most famous movie line in history wasn't even said. What did Darth Vader say to Luke Skywalker? Okay. It should say, Luke, I am your father. Like that's what everybody says. Like, Luke, I am your father. He never actually says it. He just says, I am your father. He never actually says, Luke. Okay, you're probably bad because you don't watch movies.
I'm terrible. I haven't
Okay.
even seen Lion King. Like,
Lion King?
no,
I watched
I don't.
that the other day.
I told you I can't sit through a movie.
Okay, this one, Hannibal Lecter. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
Silence of the Lambs?
Nope.
The movie Hello, Clarice? You never heard that term?
No.
He never says it. He just says good morning. Which blows people's minds. He never says hello, Clarice, which everybody thinks. Do you know... this is... Okay, this is one... There's two that really tripped me out.
Okay,
This is one of them. Do you ever listen to Queen?
Yes.
We Are the Champions. Mm-hmm. Okay. At the end of We Are the Champions, the song, does Freddie Mercury say, We are the champions, or does Freddie Mercury say, We are the champions of the world?
I'd say the first. We are the champions.
So at the very end of the song, he doesn't say of the world.
I don't think so. No.
Really? This screwed me up. I listened to it, and in my head, I've heard it a million times. I'm like, at the end, he says, We are the champions, and he goes, of the world, and it plays out. It doesn't. It just plays
No.
out. And
Yeah.
you knew that. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm living on a
Just
different
singing
universe.
the song.
Huh?
I was just thinking of the song in my head.
You will never get this, but this one screwed. You're
Another movie?
Sarah, this is terrible because like everything I'm like, I was reading through this and I'm
Okay,
like, this is
yes.
crazy. And you're like, dude, no. And you've gotten every single one.
Screw the Mandela Effect.
It doesn't exist in Sierra's world. The last one I was going to say, which was the most bizarre one of all to me, like the most bizarre. Like I actually have memories of saying like this guy was in that movie and like that never existed. I'm like, yes, it did. Like, no, it never did. Okay, terrible, whatever. So the Mandela Effect basically is this idea that like things didn't actually happen in an alternative universe. So we talk about back to what you said before with dreaming. If somebody was dreaming, most of your dreams actually happen right before you wake up. Mm-hmm. No, but I mean
yeah.
But I'm saying when you dream, you typically dream.
That's when you're in the fast twitch stage, right? Or REM.
It's
sleeping.
It's the closest to when you wake up. So you actually dream. Like, say you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. Your dreams are actually happening probably in that last little bit of time before you wake up. They're not happening like 2 a.m. You're sleeping.
Gotcha.
And dreams, I don't know
Don't
if
they
this
usually last like
for
a
seconds.
second? Yeah.
But everybody thinks like you're
I've
in
read
this
that
long
too.
dream where you're thinking and you're
No.
like, you know, when you go through a dream and you're almost like going through a storyland
Yeah.
and you just feel
Yep.
like you're like in it. That's a seconds. And all of a sudden you wake up, oh my God, I had this crazy dream.
crazy.
It literally is a second.
Yeah.
But when you're sleeping, I don't know if it's like lucid dreaming. They talk about lucid dreaming when it actually feels like you're in it.
In it.
Almost like a Wizard of Oz kind of thing. Yep. And then, but it's happened like a blink of an eye. But that's your dream, and you can recall this stuff. So it's like crazy how your brain has certain like a certain state of mind can trigger a dream that goes that quick, which doesn't seem like it should, but it does. Which I wish I got to get someone that knows sleep on here because that fascinates me. Like, so what? Like when you talk about dreams, like what's kind of like weird dreams that you think? Like if you had a weird dream before, you're like that just happened. It was like the craziest thing ever. Do you have reoccurring dreams?
I do. Or I have they were like my nightmares revolve around the same idea. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's maybe like an actual fear that's stuck somewhere in my subconscious.
Where does that come from, you think?
I think it's something I subconsciously think about day to day.
And do you
Seriously.
think it's like a valid thing or no?
Because it's
like it could
like
happen.
the nightmare like revolves around that fear, but it presents itself in a different way every single time.
So it's not
Just weird.
it's not necessarily
recurring, but around the recurring fear or theme. That's the better question.
Like I remember I had this one. It was weird. It was like I didn't get freaked out by it like from a horror movie thing, but it was like I kept having this reoccurring dream, and it was like kind of freaky, but it wasn't like terrible. And I'm going to tell people, and you'll be like, "This is weird." I remember, and I don't know where this came from. I remember having this dream, and this was a reoccurring dream for years. And it was this is almost cheesy to say because there was nothing to it. There was a green, I still remember to say there was a green basket, plastic little green basket that was no bigger than probably like my hand cupped like this. And it had like holes in it. So it was like plastic. It was almost like a wicker basket, but there's holes, and had a yellow handle on it. And just kind of like a little looped handle, like a little kid basket. And it was sitting down outside. There was a leaf in it, and wind just blew. And
so you can see color in your dream.
I'm colorblind, but yes, I can see color.
Okay.
But yeah, well, you can't see colors in dreams?
No, I do. I've had so many people try to convince me that you can't see color in your dream.
Well, I'm colorblind, so maybe I can see only my dreams. I don't know. But there was this, that was what it was. It was like this little basket with a leaf in it, and wind would blow. And it was and it meant nothing. To this day, I've never come across a green basket with a wind, like, it was like a weirdest thing. But that would come up, and it was almost freaky, because I'm like, why is this leaf just sitting in this basket and the wind's blowing? Almost like a creepy, like, Halloween scene. Yeah. And I just, like, remember, and the wind was always blowing from left to right. Don't ask me why. It was weird. It wasn't like swirling.
That's
it was
so
like,
detailed.
It was actually, I know, this is crazy. But it happened. So, and I know this is even weirder. If this is the basket, I'm doing it from my point of view. If I was like, the basket was always like slightly turned. This is the basket. Here was the leaf, and the wind was coming like this way. Isn't that creepy? Yeah. But and I'm not. Right. I mean, this is like a legitimate thing that like has. I've even had it as an adult. That's like popped up. I'm like, I've been having these dreams since I was a kid, but it means nothing to me. I've at no point in my life have ever seen this scene happen. But it's just something that triggers my brain, and I don't know what would cause that.
I don't either.
Isn't it weird?
Look it up on a dream dictionary.
They have that?
Mm-hmm. I look up my dreams all the time. Just look up a dream dictionary. Google it, and then it will give you a bunch of different topics, and you can figure out, quote unquote, what the dream is. Or what it means.
Wait, explain this. A dream dictionary?
Yeah. So there will be different words like tree, leaf, basket, wind, different meanings for wind, how it presents in your dream, and what it necessarily means.
I don't know. I've literally never told anybody that. You're the first person I've ever told. I don't understand why that dream happened. It just happened. And it was...
It's so unbelievably detailed.
It was very detailed. And I see it vivid every time I do it. Like, and it's
How
almost...
often?
When I was younger, it would happen quite often, like probably monthly. And now, every couple of years, it might come back. Wow. It's not as every night. It's not like every night I dream of this basket. It's like, but it's a weird thing.
Let me know if you see it in real life.
Yeah, but it just like clicks in my head. I'm like, and I almost, if I could sketch it out right now, if I could draw good, I could sketch it out and know exactly what it looked like. It was green, yellow, like cool. like a brownish leaf, greenish brown leaf, and then the wind blowing. Yeah, it's weird. It was just like, it wasn't a bright leaf. It wasn't like a foliage leaf. It was just like a crumpled up like leaf that you'd see like. End of fall, or not end of fall, early fall, like before they started turning, and that was it. Kind of like, yeah. So it's weird, but that was dreams. Dreams falling. Have you ever fallen in a dream?
Yes, but it's right when I'm falling asleep. Do you ever get that way too?
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I
like
if
I close my eyes, like within 5 minutes, I'll dream that I'm falling, and then I'll wake up, and it will be like in the beginning.
You wake up.
Yeah.
Also, this is something I was told too. Put something in your hand before you go. You know where I'm going with this?
No.
Oh. Why are you laughing?
Because I have another one.
Oh. Do you want to tell you yours first?
This happened to me like a couple of years ago. Well, senior year of high school? I don't even remember, but I was an adult at this point. Like, was way done wetting the bed. But I've had a dream that I've gone to the bathroom. I was in Vegas. I was at a casino. And I really had to go to the bathroom.
Sarah, the way you just said it was like, I was an adult, so I was done wetting the bed. I'm like, did you wet the bed till you're 17? Like, okay.
No! I don't want you to think it happened when I was like 3 years old, 2 years old, and I was still wearing a diaper.
As soon as you said I was an adult, then I figured that you were done wetting the bed. But that's good. That's good. Yeah.
No, I had to clarify.
Okay.
But yes, in a casino, winning big, really, really, really had to go pee.
Winning big?
Was running around to find a bathroom, and I couldn't find an open bathroom.
Wait, this is a dream?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I finally found a bathroom, and I sat down to go pee, and I woke up, and I was in my bed pissing my pants. And I'm like, what the hell? The only time I've ever. I was completely sober.
I had a friend headbutt his not with her anymore, ex-girlfriend broke her nose, got up, headbutted her in the bed because she was like, he was in a dream.
Oh my God.
Literally got up and headbutted her and broke her nose.
Serious?
Yep. And then I've seen it before where like people are doing, like they wake, when you like wake up and you're like doing something in bed, like what am I doing?
Yeah.
I used to sleepwalk as a kid.
I used to sleepwalk too.
Yeah.
We had to, my parents put like a big, what is that called? The lock on the top of the door.
Yeah, so you can open it.
Yeah. Because they found me outside once.
I don't know if I think I went outside once.
Yeah. I used to sleepwalk all the time.
It was weird. Yeah. You're just like in a daze. I haven't done it in a long, long time, but I remember doing it as a kid. I was like all of a sudden, just go get you and bring you back to bed. And
yep.
It's like I just remember seeing Step Brothers and like going through like eating all the food. Again, you don't watch movies.
No. I was going to say.
I usually talk to most people and they're like, dude, you've never seen any movie. I'm like, I really haven't seen a ton of movies. And then I start like referencing them and you're just like, I've seen even less.
No, I am horrible when it comes to references.
No, so back to my pen. So if you go to bed and you put something in your hand, a pen, anything, and you hold it, you will not drop it until you wake up.
Seriously?
So you can test my theory.
I'm going to try it.
Don't use a pen because weird. Stab yourself or something.
No,
nice pen too, by the way. Same pen.
Thanks. I love these.
Literally same pen. Yeah, nice. But if you hold something, hold a ball, just hold something in your hand. Like grab like a little trinket.
Okay, I'm going to do it.
So ideally is that if you were to sit there and fall asleep and you had this in your hand and say your hand was just like this, you should wake up in the morning and it's still in your hand. Unless you dropped it, because if you drop it, you're going to wake up.
No way.
So if you actually are sleeping with something in your hand and something startles you or you feel it's like falling, it falls out of your hand, you wake up because you want to grab it because your natural instinct of your body is to flinch almost. Like I got to hurry up and grab that thing, but it's not.
That's interesting.
So if you're sleeping, you should be able to, if you fall asleep, be holding it by the end of the morning.
Wow.
And the only time it would fall out is if you woke up, and you should know that you woke up.
I'm going to test your theory.
Okay.
I also can sleep with gum. I know that's not safe, but if I fall asleep with gum, I'll wake up with gum.
I've done it before. If you put something in your mouth because you don't really chew at night, you just Well, I think a lot of people too. If you just put it in your mouth and you just fall asleep, it just stays in your mouth because
it falls out.
Yeah, it's all over, all gooey. You just start pulling it, gets in your hair. You ever had gum in your hair?
No, I've had burdocks in my hair though.
Burdocks, not bird shit.
No, like burdocks.
Burdocks, yeah, for the flower.
That gets stuck. Yeah.
Like for a dude, it's usually pretty easy, but I'd figure for a girl, it's probably like detrimental.
I don't want to know. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like any of that stuff.
That would be bad.
Because I could cut my hair short, I wouldn't care. Like if a girl goes from like your hair down to short, it'd be like,
because of a little piece of gum. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like a piece of gum. It'd be like, then you guys start getting like the extensions and stuff. I just realized that people can put like extensions on your hair. Like a couple of years ago.
Extensions in hair.
Someone's like, yeah, that's not my real hair. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, I got an extension. I'm like, what? You like clip in hair? Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't know that.
Not me.
But I'm just saying, like, people can.
Yeah, you can do that.
Typically, people that are a little bit older do it when they start, like, hair starts losing.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. I was floored. Like, someone told me that, and it was literally, like, a whole new, like, avenue of my life opened
It's everything.
Not that I get hair extensions, but I'm just like, wow, I never knew that.
You can get, like, tattooed makeup. I mean, now the eyelash extension. You can pretty much do anything.
I know. And as
a Barbie.
As a guy, literally, I'm just like, I need just me to have like shampoo and body wash and like deodorant.
Yeah, that's
and I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I'm running out of like body wash. I had to order some more, and I'm like pumped that I think it comes in today. I'm like, yes. And, like small things of life when you like get older and you like
get excited.
Like the little things in life, you're like, yes, I got, and it's like something basic. Like even just, I know it sounds dumb, but like knowing you need socks and like clean socks. Like, yes, like just small things like coffee, being like, oh, I got a coffee today. I'm like, yes, like you get so excited for the most minor things when you're a kid. You like big things. You want toys. You want some fun stuff. Now I'm just like, I want convenience. I want lack of stress. I just want relaxation. It's fun. Like, have you noticed that as you gotten older? That
like the day I paid off my car, it was the most exciting thing in the world, and I never thought as a kid, like you said, the enjoyment things just completely shifts when you're finally on your own.
Oh, absolutely. Well, even down to the point, like, and you're cooking and you're like, good, I dropped my bread and it landed buttered side up. And you're like, yes. Like, I mean, I know it sounds cheesy, but like, I don't have to clean that mess
the
up.
English muffin and peanut butter that I've dropped every time rushing out of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, if it falls and the peanut butter's up and it doesn't get, you literally just feel like,
today's my lucky day.
You just have a small victory, like, thank you. And you put it away, just run out the door. You're like, thank you.
Yep.
So that's me with kids now. Like, that happens. I'm like, Ew, it didn't drop. Like, it stayed off their clothes. Oh, it stayed off the floor. I'm like, yeah, thank God. It got out of her hair. Awesome. Like, just the small victories of being a kid. So, Sierra, we're going to wrap that up here. Give us a plug. Give us any kind of, like, how can people find you? How can people work with you if they want extra accountability on both the nutrition and fitness? How do they reach out? How do they follow
absolutely.
you?
No, I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone. And I think that's the first step, is just having that conversation and knowing where to start to get that first step. So I'd be happy to even just have that, or help give you tips, let alone work with you. So Instagram, Facebook, Evolve Performance Training, EVOLVE, and Sierra at evolveperformancetraining.com. So reach out. Thanks for having me today, though.
Yeah.
This was so much fun.
Yeah,
I'm ready to start my own podcast.
Are you doing?
I've always wanted to.
What's stopping you?
Nothing. It's just not on the priority list right now.
Okay.
That's it.
But it will happen?
Eventually.
What
yes.
is it going to be geared around?
Oh, interviewing athletes.
Okay. Local,
Yeah.
or are you going to be reaching out to people?
No, just reaching out to people.
Yeah?
Having a conversation.
Like-
because I like talking. Probably just like you do.
Like cold calling, like Simone Biles, and being like, "Yeah, you want to be on it?" Big name. Like
yeah,
you're reaching out, like
eventually. Yeah.
like
no,
Michael
but
Phelps,
I have like
Tiger Woods. Like
no, I
going after
have
him?
people from Clarkson some females on the basketball team who have gone overseas and played, and then some of the guys who've gone and played in the NHL, because we have D1 hockey at Clarkson. So those
you know,
people,
some of these guys
and
are now in the NHL.
Yeah, and some
Friends.
some
Cool.
friends.
That's
Friends
dope.
who are athletes.
Yeah, it's Clarkson St. Lawrence is weird up there because like you gotta,
Oh, talk about the rivalry.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I know nothing about it, nor do I really care. I'm not Clarkson. I didn't go to either school.
Ouch.
But I didn't go to either school, and I wasn't a big hockey guy. But the idea that like you have that level of caliber of players right here is just pretty cool.
Yeah.
because those guys go to like NHL, or not all of them, but you know the top guys do.
Plenty of them when I was there. The
Really?
ones who, sophomore, they'd be sophomores and they were gone.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Nico Sturm for Minnesota Wilds. I'm trying to think of a couple other names.
That's just so crazy that
year.
like, oh, that like Nico's not back. Like, no, he's in the NHL now. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
No, it's great. It's so cool.
Quick
And thinking like
graduation.
how small of a school we are at Clarkson.
Yeah,
It's pretty awesome.
Well,
Hockey makes the school.
how was that? How big is the stadium for hockey?
They just redid it. So
A little bit bigger now?
The year I graduated. Yeah.
Is it about the same size roughly as Prospect State? A little bit bigger.
Much bigger.
Oh, it is. Okay. I know some of those places, like D1 schools, have really small stadiums.
It's not huge though. Not much bigger than
Probably
Plattsburgh.
5,000 people.
Oh, don't even ask.
Did
I
you go
have
to all
no
the
idea.
games?
Yeah.
Yeah. Proud of you. All right. That's it. Episode 148 with Sierra Gonyo. Thanks for listening to the Galen Trombley Show. If you want to reach me, you can go on Facebook at Galen Trombley, on Instagram at Galen Trombley, and on YouTube at Galen Trombley. The spelling, GaelanTrombley.